Did you know that the first digital camera was invented in 1975? In December of that year, Steve Sasson, an engineer for Kodak, took the used parts of the Super 8 video camera and combined it with the digital cassette recorder and a few other parts to create the first digital camera. Of course, at the time, film cameras were the only cameras sold. No one wanted a camera that could project a photo on a TV screen, which at the time was the only way to view the photos. It wasn't until the mid-90s that digital single-lens reflex cameras, or DSLRs, gained popularity. Once DSLRs dominated the camera market, film cameras companies were almost put out of business. But over the past few years, film cameras are making a comeback. Upon doing my research, I found a very helpful video source called The History of Photography by COOPH. In it, a few of the following are citations from it. The first camera was invented in approximately 1816 by Nithisor Nitz, who was the first to make a camera that successfully took a photo. The photo he took was taken on a sheet of paper covered in silver chloride that darkened when exposed to light. After this, inventors began making new and different types of cameras, but the real game changer was invented by George Eastman, who invented roll film in 1885. In 1888, George Eastman, the founder of Kodak, put the first handheld camera on the market. The original Kodak camera came preloaded with 100 exposures that, after use, were sent back to the factory for development and reloading. The next milestone in photography was the 35mm camera invented by Oscar Barnack in 1925. The 35mm camera came in many different styles, but the structure and skeleton remained the same. The 35mm camera remained the it camera for 60 years. As I stated before, DSLRs gained popularity in the 90s, allowing people to take photos and look at them instantly. After that came the point-and-shoot camera, which allowed people to carry a small camera with a fixed lens that was easily accessed by the users. Finally, the most recent advancement is the innovative mirrorless camera, which has replaced the mirror in the camera that transfers the image to the viewfinders with a digital image projection. Now that we know some of the history behind photography and how much the industry has developed, you may ask, why would people want to go back to film with all the technology we have now? For the past few years, the new generation of photographers who have grown up with digital cameras have begun experimenting with film cameras. Why? Because there is something about film cameras that requires the photographer to pay more attention to detail. In an interview with Time magazine, Dennis Ulbrich, president of Kodak Alaris' imaging, paper, photochemicals, and film division, states, "Film forces you to think about the image, plan the image, and actually create the image mentally before you actually take the photo, which allows you to have a more artistic feel, and even can make the image more spectacular." And I believe that this is indeed true. From a personal account, taking pictures on a digital camera is so easy that it almost feels as though it lacks the magical feeling of using film cameras and the excitement of planning the shot. The most common film camera for those starting in film photography is a Pentax K1000. This is widely recommended by many photographers for beginning film camera photographers because it only has 3 settings: aperture, ISO, and shutter speed. These 3 elements allow this camera to be very easily used. Probably the most popular type of film cameras today are instant film photography cameras. One that is probably the most common is a Fujifilm Instax Mini, which has become a very popular camera over the past few years. According to Time magazine, Fujifilm believes it has sold more than 6.5 million cameras in 2015, up from the 3.9 it sold in 2014. But why are these cameras so popular? Manny Aldman president of Fujifilm's imaging division in North America, states the Instax is fun, relaxed, and a social communication. In effect, instant photography is becoming as popular a social activity as Facebook or Instagram. Isn't it interesting how the old is becoming new again?